Hey, what's good? What's good? Let me turn some of this music off real quick. Yo, yo, yo. That's a that's a vibe though. All right, all right, all right. Let me pause that. Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is Lyric. I am the creator of 15 Minutes with Dad. I am your host, your facilitator today for Dad Let's Chat. We're on another week. Started a little bit late, but guess what? We're going to still get it popping. Thank you guys for joining me. For all those that are joining late that haven't watched the last week's live chat or live conversation, this is Dad Let's Chat. And Dad Let's Chat is a platform that I'm creating to have live conversation and live camaraderie between dads. You can join in live. You can jump on to this conversation as well. Let me get Instagram ready because Instagram be all lagging and stuff. So let me get them prepared. So, um, if you want to join into this conversation, you want to get on and speak, you can be completely anonymous. All you have to do is visit 15minuteswithdad.com/live, and you can see that on the video page where the video is actually playing. At the bottom of that, you will be able to see a link that you can go ahead and join the live, or you can hit that link in the comment section to join live, and you will be invited on stage to speak your mind for any of the various topics that we talk about. I'm a facilitator. I am not the all be all and the all knowing of content or information about fatherhood or about being a dad. The one thing I can tell you is that I've been a dad for a very long time, 16 years going. And what I can tell you is that I've gone through the mud, whether it's being broke, whether it's being homeless and being a dad, whether it's like being not, present in my daughter's life or not being active in my daughter's life and being away for some time and trying to redeem myself from that place. And also being an impactful dad where I love my little family that I have with my four kids and my lovely girlfriend. So if y'all can please jump on, jump in, talk, and have conversations with me. I'm going to be live and I'm going to do this every week, whether somebody jumps on or not. But what I will tell you is I do have topics and we will talk about stuff. So, and if you want to listen in, go ahead and join the conversation. For dads or non-dads, if moms want to join in, I'm going to tell you can't, because this is Dad Less Chat, not for mothers, but you can listen though, just so that you can learn something. No hate, no hate. Let me get this thing popping. Let me go to my banner. I have a lot of clickety click things that I'm learning over here. Give me a second. A little second. First things first, before I get even remotely close into that, I like to talk. I like to do this thing called a dad highlight reel. And on any platform that you're watching this on, whether it be Facebook, any social media platform, make sure that make like chime in, give me a comment and tell me what's your highlight as a father for the week, whether it be learning new communication skills, dealing with a toddler because they do stress people out. They make life hard. But what is some wins? What are some wins for you guys this week? Let me figure out how to go to my live so I can share it and let people know. So but yeah, so some wins for me. I'll talk about mine first. So for me, something that I've feel like is a highlight for me is that this week I had a very rough week. I didn't get some good news from my one-on-one with my manager. He kind of like, gave me some feedback on something, and I didn't take it well, right? And but it wasn't because of the feedback itself. I think I had some um places or some moments of where I felt like I was going through something at home and I didn't really voice it or communicate how I was feeling about things. And I don't think it was as major as I made it feel, but I feel like I didn't voice how I felt. And I didn't, and so I bottled it in and I started feeling down on myself. I started being a little, mean to myself in different ways. Let me figure out ways. How do I share this? Um, and what I learned, what my win was that I ended up voicing and talking about how I felt. thinking about what it is that I wanted to say and actually communicating that in a way that people understood. And I started feeling better when I got that news. It kind of triggered me again. And then I realized very, very quickly that, hey, I there's some unresolved feelings that I haven't addressed internally about how I feel about myself, and not necessarily the environment around me. So I feel like a win was me understanding that, and two, taking the steps to really cope ahead, and get myself together. And the rest of my week turned out really good. Um, and so that's my highlight. What is your highlight? You can chop in the comment section in any part of this any comment section that you're watching on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, and I'll get it here in the chat. Let me I'm got a lot of mouses. So if you want to join in this conversation when I start asking questions and we start talking about some topics, make sure that you use this link that's in the chat right here down below, and you can join this chat and on a live. And if you want to be anonymous, I can make you anonymous too. So let's keep on going. Give me 1 second while I figure out this one thing. 5. Let me change my audience. Okay. Well, all right. So let's get moving. The next thing I want to talk about is, like, I like to do this thing in segments. And this is, like I said, this is a live conversation. So I'm talking, but also you can chime in and comment if you have some comments to say. And so the first with my highlight reel, or my reel of being my dadhood this week, um, I I want to go into the topic of communication, because on my podcast this week, I actually talked about communication as well. And I think that that's something that I'm realizing over time, is that I'm not good at communicating. And I can do a lot of work on communicating. And um, because I think that a lot of relationships go bad because of poor communications. I think therapists would kind of agree with me. And when people don't know how to either communicate their feelings, or don't know how to navigate their feelings, and voice those concerns in a way that a human can understand, or another person, then there's usually some disconnect in that format. So what I'm going to talk about is communication, not only just as a dad entirely, like in your relationship to your kids. There's different ways to communicate these things to different types of kids and different levels of kids. And I'm going to tell you where some of us probably went wrong. So I'm going to start with where I think that in my life where things went wrong in regards to, like, understanding how to communicate. And that's literally being raised. I wasn't raised with being taught communication skills. I was raised with, irate outbursts, um, you know, aggression, and all the things that I would never raise my kids like. I've learned that is, I mean, it's it's caused me to have trouble also communicating when I'm vulnerable. I think I'm really good at communicating when things are good. I think that when things are bad is the hard part, because I don't actually address my feelings before I communicate. I just go right into it and thinking that I can solve everything if I just say what I'm feeling. Which some things can, but for when you're the more vulnerable a topic is, the harder it is to communicate how you're feeling and what you think, and to someone that you love and care about. And so when I'm being raised by those aggressive, outright outbursts, screaming to get your way as a kid, I usually negated my own feelings, meaning, like, I suppressed how I felt about something to avoid fighting, to avoid arguing, to avoid the drama, to keep the peace. And I know a lot of fathers out there would say the same thing, that, you know what, I just don't say anything, or I just let it go just to keep the peace. But in reality, that's the exact opposite of what you want to do. The first reason is that if you don't voice how you feel, you don't acknowledge yourself as a presence in the relationship with your kids or with your significant other. And when you're not voicing your emotions and your feelings, you're bottling them up. You're holding them there. You will experience emotions, regardless on if you show it or not. You will experience emotions, And so where we have a lot of fathers, I think, have trouble is when we choose to suppress our emotions or our feelings about something that makes us feel, um, you know, not good or makes us feel uneasy. We don't voice it. We actually just kind of hold it in and bottle it in and hope that things shape up, right? And I think that in some cases, give me a second. In some cases, I'm trying to figure out how to share this thing. All right, here we go. Let me share that. I figured it out. They done messed up and let me figure it out. They done messed up and let me figure it out, guys. All right, here we go. Boom. I'm dropping it. Boom. All right, give me a second, guys. I got distracted because I seen how I can post some things. All right, so where I was saying is that um, speaking our feelings gives us a few things. It allows us to create a space in wherever we are, in our family, in our like. A lot of fathers think that or feel that they are misunderstood, unappreciated, or only cared about when things are going right. But what I've learned, and even with me and being the way that I am for so many years, and growing and learning and trying to be a better father, what I can tell you is that the a huge part of why we don't get the appreciation or the validation or the all of that we feel like we deserve, and it's because we don't say it. We don't speak it. We don't put it out there and say, "Hey, I would actually like for you guys to not only say happy birthday, but let's go somewhere together and spend time with me doing this thing that I love." Like there are different ways that different places that we should actually voice how we feel about things. And we kind of usually let things just fall out of our hands because we're like, well, this person just don't want it because they just don't like it, or because they're just this, or they're just that. In some cases that's true, but in a huge chunk of these things is that we don't actually carve out a space where our emotions matter. And this isn't a conversation about hard or soft. It's simply about how we communicate, how we feel. And so there is this way, and I talked about this in a podcast, to communicate, whether you're co-parenting, whether you have a significant other, whether you have your kids, is that there is a method to communicating that I can almost guarantee that most of you have not learned. Because and I'm not saying because, but I just learned it recently. I recently just learned this, and it's kind of helped me in a bit to formulate how I think about my emotions. Because before I couldn't, I was so flustered. I would, feel so flustered with my emotions that I couldn't really put them in words. And so I just avoided displaying them, or avoid, showing emotions towards something, unless it's anger or unless it's me can't not taking it anymore. And we shouldn't do that, because that's like a slice. Every time you outburst is almost like a slice to your relationship. You outburst negatively, like, oh my god, I effing this and this and this, and I don't want you, and like, you put all these different emotions into this 5-second window. You literally crush your relationship every time. But imagine if you actually, like, there's stuff that I think women usually talk about or usually ask for, like an emotionally available person. And I think that emotional availability is this thing that we are kind of talking about. Let me see if I can fix my camera. This is the thing that we're kind of talking about, right? It's not like wearing your heart on your sleeve emotional. I think women don't even like that, because they be like, ah, that man's a simp. He cried too much. But being able to articulate how you feel, because humans engage with other humans based on these different signals. And some of those signals, and most of those signals from a woman, seek to be emotional signals. And if you don't have emotional signals, or your emotional signals aren't clear, then you're going to have some issues navigating people. And so this tool that I've learned is like this thing called Dear Man. And if you've been in therapy, you've probably heard of Dear Man. If you've been in, couples therapy, Dear Man is a very helpful tool. And so, and Dear Man basically is like, I'm just going to sum it up. I'm not going to go through each letter, but it's an acronym. But basically, it helps you formulate your thoughts into, hey, this is what happened. This is how it made me feel. This is what I would like. And I understand that you would probably like why you would do that thing, but this is helpful. It'll be helpful for both of us. And in order for us to get to that, I'm willing to do this, but I will not take this anymore. You see, like you literally, like it creates a framework, and you can, is DEARMEN. Is it MAN? I can't remember, but I think it's MAN, Dear Man. And when you master that, it allows you to really formulate your feelings and emotions into places. And as you practice talking about how you feel about stuff, then it becomes more easier to communicate in the moment or communicate to your kids. I've really had to work on communicating with my teenager and communicating with my toddler, because it's like they're the same mentality, toddlers, and they want to be big people, right? Teenagers and toddlers, almost as virtually the same. The caveat that happens is that one is more abstract in thought, one is more trying to formulate their thought. But communicating with both of them has been a very challenging aspect, and it's also been challenging to communicate how I feel to my girlfriend. And so we're we've been working on practicing stuff and trying to be deliberate about how we communicate those things. But I can tell you that understanding or mastering some form of communication tool can help you save your relationship, but you have to be willing to do it. So let me go on. Let's go on. I think I've talked enough about communication. So, like, what are some ways? My question is, what are some ways that ways you have grown your communication skills? And you can drop this answer into any of the chats, any comment section, and I'll get it. You could drop it in the comment section. You can jump on live if you want to. Jump into the studio. You don't jump right on live. You jump into the studio, and then I can see if add you on if you want to be anonymous or not. And so this my question is, what are some ways that you've grown your communication skills? And if the answer is I haven't really thought about communication skills, um, talking is not just the communication skills, it's how you formulate. Like the way you talk to your boss is different than you talk to your girl, is different than you talk to your kids, is different than you talk to your parents. Communication skills is an art form, and I thought I mastered that. I'm not gonna lie, I thought I mastered that shit. Like I feel like I've been communicating to different types of people from all over the world so much throughout my life. And I'm like, yeah, I got this. I can talk to anybody. But then when it came to talking is one thing. When it comes to that emotional thing, like that's the part that makes it difficult, is trying to like communicate emotions into words. Not like I hate you, like, or you're nothing but a this, or you ain't nothing but a this, and you just this. Like that is not communicating. That's actually just berating, right? That's different. But let me see. Why does this thing have a little crosshair in my camera? I didn't even realize that. Nobody gonna tell me I got a crosshair in my little camera. Hold on, let me figure that out real quick before I go too crazy with it. If it's not one thing, it's another, bro. Golly, give me a second. Um, but I say that all to say, I guess that crosshair is gonna stay there, guys. I'm gonna be shot. Somebody's gonna snipe me. Ways that I've grown my communication skills is um, like sitting with my emotions a little more. I think that like it's been a journey for me, but sitting with my emotions in calm and stillness and trying to figure out how do I feel about this and not being afraid to voice how I feel in fear of retribution. Really just not caring on whether or not there is retribution and just going with it. Right. Let me see something. Let me hit a few buttons here. Nope. 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 I thought that would work out. This thing is showing exactly what's on my camera, my DSLR. That's crazy. But I'll have it fixed time next time. Y'all just bear with this little cross and arrow in my face. But the way that I've kind of, like I said, worked through my emotions is, sitting with my emotions, sitting with my feelings, and just really trying to put my thoughts into my feelings into words and making sure that they are feelings and communicating those feelings instead of like what I think, because I can come off the head with what I think and how I think very quickly. And so let's transition. Let's go to another topic, guys. Emotional validation. And I know we talk. It's a very emotional topic, emotional live. But the reality is that this is a part of us that we don't address. This is a part of us that don't get enough um, validation. This is a part of us that don't really get communicated much. And 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 the reason why I'm bringing this up is because this is what my struggle was this week. Um, and being able to navigate. I actually talk about it in my podcast at 15 minutes with dad 15 minutes with dad podcast. You can go and check it out. uh Excuse me. But 15 minutes with dad, even though I lead this conversation and talk this conversation, I still have my struggles as well. I still go through my hard moments, my tough times. And what I can tell you is that um emotional validation has been a really, from my emotional validation and validating other people's emotions. I think that what I've learned is that when I get most upset in arguments or debates, when say how I feel and I give something and there is no, and there's a missing of validation, and I never really communicated that was a issue for me until I really started doing the actual validation, and then I noticed that, oh snap, I'm not getting validated, and I haven't even required that I get validated, and it makes me even more upset when I say something and it, like I say how I feel, or I say that, this is what happened, or this and this and this, and there is no validation. And so what me and my girl has been working on is trying to us working through that validation phase. And I've like worked on using validation as a initial part of my reply before I communicate back about a thing. Something's being said to me. I'm not listening to reply, I'm listening to understand. And so that means that the way that would happen is that when somebody says something to you, that you actually go in and you repeat what they said to you, right? You repeat what they said to you, and then you go back in and then you validate those feelings, whether or not you agree. Validating is not saying that it is correct or that is incorrect. It's saying that I understand that your feelings are correct to you. Your feelings are correct to you, and I I want to offer some support in how you're thinking about this. I didn't mean to do that. I do apologize that I made you feel that way, and I want to do better. I want to change this. I want to work on this, and moving forward, I'll be more mindful of that thing, because now I know that that's how it makes you feel. And be mindful that validation doesn't come pretty, right? Just because you're validating someone's emotions doesn't mean that that person is going to n- notice that you're doing it and be like, okay, okay, we're good. It is a practice, and you have to do it so much more regular that that person feels safer. um Obviously, when you first do it, it's probably not, they're gonna want to keep arguing because they're used to you debating and going back and forth with them. But What I can tell you is that with practice, it does start applying some sense of security for the person that you are with, or that you're validating, that you're in a debate with. And this is for anybody. This isn't just for your significant other. This isn't just for your kids. This isn't just for, your boss. This is for anybody you communicate with that has a disagreement. You hit somebody and they say, look, you this and this and this. Look, I understand why you would think that. Like, this is, but it's not the case. This is actually why, like, or yeah, like, so you're saying that I hit you with the thing that blah blah blah, like anything. Working on that helps you control the conversation a little bit better. So that peace that you're trying to create, that peace and environment that you're trying to navigate through, you're able to articulate at a better state that provides an environment where you can thrive. And so that's emotional validation, guys. And I can tell you, a lot of us do that shit wrong. Like, I mean, wrong, wrong. Like I can tell you, I've done it wrong for years. I'm in my mid 30s, and I'm just learning kind of stuff. And I used to I used to do the opposite. I actually used to say, like, calm down. And when I tell you, I had to learn the hard way that calm down is not something you should tell somebody. I mean, I was like, "Why are you so upset? Like, calm down, bro. Like calm down." Like, it makes sense, right? Logically, calming down is easy, but in fact, there's a discrepancy that needs to be addressed before said calm down takes place. And so, you work on emotional validation and you work on your communication skills. You can save your relationship with your family, your kids, your significant other, your friends, your boss. You just have to learn how to talk to people. And if people don't want to engage with you, it's because they probably feel like you're difficult to talk to, difficult to communicate with. You probably got some things that are jacked up, or they're internally jacked up. There's a lot of different reasons, but I can tell you, if your communication skill goes well and your emotional validation goes well, you open up a lot of doors for yourself for people, and people feel more safer around you and more vulnerable to communicate their fears and their frustrations and their desires. This goes for women too, but women are probably watching this, but this is for dads, because we're like, dads, let's chat. All right. So, next question: how do you typically respond to criticism from your partner? And I'm gonna be frankly honest. I tend to get defensive very quickly, depending on how it's communicated to me. I think I am. Let me not say depending upon. One, it depends upon what state of being I'm in at the moment. Two, it depends sometimes on how it's being communicated to me. But but what I could tell you is defensive is usually my go-to. Um, and because I care about the image that I have in front of people, whether it be my family, whether it be my friends, my girlfriend, my kids. Like, I care about how they view me or how they see me. Um, and when there is a statement that is against that, of which I'm trying to be like, it cuts through my soul, my ego even. And I get defensive and I try to defend the fact that there's no way. There's no way that that's the truth. That's not the truth. That didn't happen. That's a lie, blah blah blah. I ain't do that. I ain't trying to do that. Like, that wasn't like. And instead, and that's what makes this whole emotional validation thing hard for me, is because if it's said in a way that strikes my ego, then I don't even look at the fact that that person's hurt by what I did, regardless on why I did it. That person is upset and hurt by what I did. So it's like, it's my duty, even if I didn't mean to hurt that person, to acknowledge that I did something, and for them, it hurt them. Even if I'm like, bro, why would that hurt you? It wasn't ain't that serious. Like, whatever that may be, I can feel whatever that is. But at the end of the day, the person I love and I care about is in front of me, still hurt. And so defensiveness is not the way to go, but that's usually my go-to. And that's something I've been working on hard. I think literally all my life, just all my life. All right. So before we get on to this next thing, I always like to go to, before we end this, I always like to go to some questions that was submitted from fathers. And I have a question here submitted from a dad, and it said, "Has anyone ever hurt the man that your wife or girlfriend ever cheated on, and any regrets?" That's a real tough question. I think most of us would dream of it. Um, but here is I think I could tell you about a time where I wanted to, and I was so upset, and a lot of my insecurities were like worn on my sleeve at that time, and I was trying to defend everything in me. And I got on his phone. I remember what this dude told me, and he it messed me up so bad. Bro was like, "Bro, why you calling me, dog? She choosing." I was like, I was I was I was like bro. I was speechless. Speechless. I was like, "You're right. She is choosing." In my head, I ain't say that. I was still mad though, but I was like, "Dang." And and that rings in my head, and it's ringed on my head as I like navigated my life on like how angry or moments that I was angry or upset, and and how I feel or what my view is on infidelity. And what I can tell you is that it might make you temporarily feel good, but what if that dude kick your ass? Like you go out there and fight trying to defend what? Your honor, her honor, like she out here. She for the streets already. You might as well just let that go. But what's important is that you master what controls your emotions and what controls your thoughts and feelings, bro. Like that shit ain't worth it, honestly. Like it comes with more downside than it does upside, bro. Like I know it makes you angry and feel betrayed, but it's important that you navigate those feelings so that you don't make rash decisions. You know how many men in jail from what they call like passion killings, bro? You know how many people in jail for that, like in prison for life on one moment because they girl out here choosing, and she's still out there choosing. If she made it out alive, she's still out there choosing because women or humans are going to do what they want to do regardless on if you're there or not. They're going to choose to do whatever they want to do, whether you're there or not. It's your job to understand the environment that you have created for yourself, the relationship that you've created for yourself, and know the person that you're with. If you find out your significant other is cheating, weigh all your options and decide from there. But what you do not need to do is make a rash reaction like go and fight the dude, because the dude may or may not have known. And if he did know, I mean, then he didn't unlock the door. She did. Not saying you should take your anger out on her. I will tell you that you should separate and just go and find your peace, man. Peace is worth more than prison. I can tell you that. I ain't never been to prison, but I can tell you I ain't never want to go to prison either because I ain't hear nothing but bad things about it. I heard the spread is pretty good, but other than that, I ain't hear nothing good about it. So that's my take on it, man. Um, I've wanted to, um, but it's not worth it. I'm sure if you actually reacted harshly with an emotional outburst, which is what we talked about today, how we don't want to do that, that if you react like that, you will have regrets. There's no way in this day and age that you can go and fight a dude for doing something and that's the end of it. And that dude's gonna go and think about what he did. Nah, that ain't how the world work no more, man. Ain't no code, ain't no peace code. Like, nah, you fight somebody, you go and beat them up, you break their ego, they come in with some firepower. Like, people don't fight no more. So that's what I would say. You might not have immediate regrets because you'll feel good, or unless you get your butt kicked, you'll have immediate regrets. But if you kick his butt and you have no regrets at that moment, you will probably have regrets coming down the line. That dude will be plotting to come back and get you unless you skip city, skip town or something. But that's my take on it, man. I'm not your local uh your battle buddy, but I can tell you I wouldn't do it. I'll learn how to communicate my feelings and make the decisions that I need to make for my peace. My next question: what is your state of your co-parenting relationship, guys? So, like, if you haven't heard, I've been on this series on my podcast, 15 Minutes with Dad, called Mastering the 7 Keys of co-parenting. And essentially, I have these keys that I'm talking about each week. Last week we talked about communication as being the forefront of co-parenting. And so the second, I have another week dropping off. You can look for the episode coming out next week on Thursday. Sorry, excuse me, not on Thursday, on Tuesday. And when the episodes drop, that's the next key. But I'm doing a series, but that series is also leading up to a master class for co-parenting. Essentially, I'm doing a webinar, like a 6-part webinar starting October 29th. And if you want to be a part of that, you can go and visit 15minuteswithdad.com/co-parent. That's 15minuteswithdad.com/co-parent. Or you can listen to my podcast and follow along with the series. I'm going to talk through those pieces of series. But then we're gonna dive in, and I'm gonna give you guys tools in my webinars on how to co-parent better, how to navigate your communication, and build a communication plan from scratch with you for your co-parent, and help you navigate those conversations. I'll offer moments of one-on-ones, like specific questions. We'll kind of dive in, and I'll just be close with you. But we're trying to build a network here. We're trying to build a camaraderie, a brotherhood of brothers. On Facebook, we have a group called Fatherhood Fraternity that you can join. There's a lot of Facebook groups for dads all throughout the app. If you're a dad and you need some support, we have a Discord as well, where fathers talk about their feelings, whether it's parenting toddlers, parenting special needs kids, or all that good stuff. So we kind of try to keep it broad and in perspective, but this is just a communication channel, a way for you to get an outlet that isn't just reading articles. You can actually talk to somebody. I have a little advice. I have a little advice to give, but I know other people that have advice to give as well, that I can bring in. I want to bring on. I have like a couple series in my podcast where I bring specialists in family development and childhood development, as well as relationship development. I have mental health specialists and people that come on that are professionals to kind of help navigate us through our fatherhood journey. And so I say all that to say, what is the status of your co-parenting relationship? If it's not good and you want to get some advice, you want to get some tools, something that can help you navigate it, no matter how crazy it is. When I tell you I've gone through the crazy of the crazies, some craziest of crazies, I have gone through some craziest of crazy, and I've come on top. And I'm going to talk about what I've learned, some anecdotes about my life and how I navigated, as well as ways that you can use to navigate your life and things that I've learned along the way, with different avenues of communication and navigating with fathers. So if you have not heard, I wrote a book called Man Up: From Our Trauma to Being Impactful Fathers. It's available on Amazon. You can go get it right now. It's like $13.79. So you can go and check that out if you want to. But all I can say is thank you guys for joining this Dad's Live. For those that are watching it after the fact, you can still do the same thing. You can still go to even though I'm not live, you can still go to the webpage. You can still get the link to join this conversation. Every Friday, 6:30, we're going to have this conversation. I thank y'all for tuning in. I'm going to figure out this camera thing because I don't like it, but it actually is pretty fire. But I'm going to figure out this camera thing, and y'all take care.